This is an interesting arrival into Centennial that I thought I'd post, and it's sort of a debrief for myself. I'm reasonably happy with the way things turned out, but there's a lot to learn here, lots that I could have improved, and it starts with the initial call to tower, and there's a tailwind on 2-8, and I decide to take 2-8 anyway. And then the tailwind picks up a little, and I end up in a left downwind for 1-7 left. Get sequence behind a jet, Pilatus behind me. That didn't work out because we lost separation, mainly because I was too enthusiastic on the throttle. Ended up going back into a right downwind for 2-8, and the tailwind had dropped a little bit from 10 knots down to 7, and having to make a fairly steep approach into 2-8. So it starts with the initial call with ATIS to Centennial Tower.
Centennial Tower, station A6206, 10 miles east of the field with India inbound for a full stop.
Number 2 Golf Victor, wind 1009 or fly straight out, run the left side left, clear takeoff.
Alright, run straight out, 17 left, clear takeoff, 2 Golf Victor.
Archer 621 Tango Kilo, Centennial Tower, runway 17 left, line forward.
Line up and wait, runway 17 left, 1 Tango Kilo.
6206 Centennial Tower, wind 110 at 8, QXF 28.
I can take 28, 6206.
206, make sure runway 28 clear to land.
Straight into 28, clear to land, 6206.
On this next call, I ask to switch to 1-7 left because the tailwind is picked up a bit to 10 knots. And I get a bit task saturated and ask him to say again. And I do the same in future because when you task saturated, hearing is the first thing to go, and you can't process what you don't hear. So the only option is to ask a controller to say again, no matter how awkward or embarrassing it is.
Number 206, turn left about 20 degrees, fly that heading until you're on final for 28.
Left 20 degrees, and then on that heading until I'm on final for 28. Can you mean that wind one more time? 6206.
Wind 120 at 10 now.
120 at 10, thank you. 206.
206, if you don't want that, I could get you one of the 17s.
Second.
November 206, if you don't want to land 28 with that tailwind, I can get you one of the 17s.
Yeah, 10 is getting a little too high for me. 17 would be great, 206.
206, roger. Climb down about 7,500 for now. Actually, let's do this. 206, cancel and clearance runway 28. Continue present heading, and then follow Parker Road northbound. Expect runway 17 left for now.
Expecting 17 left. We'll follow Parker Road northbound, and I'll intercept Parker Road on this heading, 626.
I think I've gotten pretty good at following complex instructions like that, but it's also a bit of a cheat because I know the airspace very well and the VFR reporting points. And so, just a reminder going into an unfamiliar airport, it's really helpful to study the sectional before you go in and find all the VFR reporting points and familiarize yourself.
Number 206, reduce speed, plan to follow a station, turning about a 5-mile final.
Reducing speed, and we'll follow the, was it a citation, 206?
206, affirmative.
We'll follow the citation, 6206.
So I had the citation in sight, and then I lost him, and then eventually I see him again when he's a beam of me off my left wing. And at that point, the controller tells me to go straight for the numbers on 17 left because he's trying to sequence me in front of a Pilatus that's coming up quickly behind the citation.
That's 206, traffic follows over the north shore of the reservoir, descending out of 7,000 citation.
Looking for traffic, 206.
So for the rest of the video, I'm going to put a zoomed in view of the G1000 PFD as a picture-in-picture, and you can see the airspeed on the left, altitude on the right, and then the turn coordinator at the top. And I do a bunch of maneuvers here that are low, slow, steep turns, and so probably the most important thing is to stay coordinated. And I do an all right job, but I get uncoordinated at certain points. The worst thing that one can do in this situation is to apply too much rudder, in which case you're skidding and not slipping. And the reason that's dangerous is because your lower wing can stall and causing the airplane to very quickly flip upside down. And that's obviously not recoverable at low altitude. So you can watch the turn coordinator at the top, and you can watch my airspeed changes on the left. And there's some pretty substantial airspeed changes as I'm racing to try to get ahead of this Pilatus, and then I end up overrunning the citation that's landing on the runway and having to switch to runway 28.
206, start immediate left turn, direct numbers, runway 17 left, runway 17 left, clear to land, keep your speed up, please.
Immediate left turn, straight to the numbers, have that citation in sight, and clear to land 17 left, 6206.
206, Can, you're about 4 miles ahead of a Pilatus indicating 200 knots just northeast of you.
All right, I'll do the best I can, 6206.
Just one more comment about staying coordinated. You know, one of the biggest issues when turning like this is pulling back on the yoke and increasing the loading, which increases the potential for an accelerated stall. So as I'm doing these turns, I'm really conscious of not adding pressure, back pressure onto the yoke, pulling back on the yoke and adding that additional loading so that some of the turns might be steep. And then he's asked me for speed, and you'll see I go from under 100 knots to like 150 knots. So I got way too enthusiastic. I basically went full throttle, nose down. You know, I'll give you want speed, I'll give you speed, and completely messed it up and overran the citation and had to go around.
206, you could do speed now. You're following that station just over the numbers now. I need him off the runway prior to you crossing the threshold.
Roger.
I didn't think you're going to speed up that fast.
Roger, 626.
So it's really funny listening to this again. He's like, I didn't think you were going to speed up that fast. So I throttle back, pull up, add flaps, and getting ready to drop like a hawk out of the sky, but I couldn't slow down enough.
206, yeah, just go around and turn left, fly eastbound as soon as you can.
Going around, 626.
206, just turn and make a left turn, fly eastbound. The wind died down significantly. The wind's 1407. Can you accept runway 28 now?
Yeah, what's the wind now?
Wind's 140 at 7.
Yeah, I'll take 28, 626.
Tower, medevac 9 Mike Alpha with you, visual 17 left.
Medevac 905, 9 Mike Alpha, Centennial Tower, runway 17 left, clear to land.
Clear to land 17 left, 9 Mike Alpha.
206, so you can accept 28?
A firm, I can take 28, 6206.
6 Roger, you could fly eastbound, and then right base, runway 28, your discretion, runway 28, clear to land.
Eastbound, right base, my discretion, runway 28, clear to land, 6206.
So this is one of the things I love about Centennial controllers is they really pay attention. And he was just double checking that I am actually okay with 2.8 because I was fighting the yoke and he could probably hear the strain in my voice. I was task saturated, so I hadn't adjusted the trim and I was busy keeping an eye on my airspeed and bringing my flaps up, making sure that my airspeed isn't too low for flaps up and so on. So he just double checked on me. So you can see that steep approach into 2.8 because, you know, it's like a left turn heading east, and then I'm right next to the runway, got some altitude, and I've got to, you know, do a continuous right turn to make 2.8. So I'm really trying to stay coordinated, but occasionally taking my eye off the ball and, you know, looking for the runway and so on. So you can see that, you know, I do an all right job of staying coordinated, but at times it sort of drifts a little bit. And then coming in for the approach, you know, I think I mean, there's no other, there's no gentle way to put it. I messed up the landing, and what I did was I stalled the plane onto the runway, which is not a big deal. It wasn't like a super hard landing, but I didn't have enough airspeed to do a proper flare, and I should have probably added power. You can see my airspeed's going to drop as I cross the threshold. It's at 70 across the threshold, which is good, but it drops. And I'm pulling up, and in the 206, you really want to land on the mains. And so, you know, as I'm pulling up and I get the nose up, and then, um, you know, my airspeed gets really low, and I'm still not making contact with the ground, and I basically stall onto the ground. So not ideal, but not a disaster. And yeah, that's it. So I hope you enjoyed this. It was really a debrief for myself, given a little bit of a higher pressure approach, VFR approach into Centennial. And you know, I think the main thing is just staying coordinated, um, not pulling back on the yoke in the steep turns, and then, you know, trying to help out the controllers when one can, but not getting over enthusiastic, trying to just think about if you're coming into a busy airfield, think about the traffic ahead, the citation in this case, and the traffic behind, and just gently trying to sequence yourself in, but sometimes it doesn't work out. And then when it doesn't work out, just keep an eye on that airspeed. And I remember the rather awful situation that happened. I think it was in Houston a few years ago, where a Cirrus was task saturated and brought up her flaps too early with not enough airspeed. So that's kind of one of the things that's burnt into my mind, and one of the things I think about when I'm in a situation like this, and I've switched from 2.8 to 1.7 back to 2.8. Just remember, like, basic stick and rudder skills, fly the plane. That's the most important thing. Anyway, safe flying.